Everyone, welcome to Battle Red Radio, your go-to source for all things sports. I'm your host, Kaden Jones, and I'm here with Coby Riendeau. He's going to be co-hosting with me today. We've got an exciting show covering everything from the latest sports news. And if you're new here, please like and subscribe to the video for more Battle Red Radio coming soon. This is actually going to be a YouTube exclusive show. Because we're on spring break right now, there is no UHDI radio this week. However, me and Coby are going to be recording the show from the comfort of our homes. And the reason for that is because of NFL free agency is going crazy right now.
Yeah, no UHDI radio does not mean no Battle Red Radio. And just because we're on spring break does not mean the news is stopping. So we got to keep reporting on it.
Exactly. So this was a huge week for free agency so far, and it's only day 2, right? Day 2 or day 3, I believe. As of recording this, it is 8:41 p.m. on Wednesday,
March 12th, which is technically the start of the new league year. So all the trades that we're going to be talking about are officially going into effect today. The releases that we're talking about, most of them won't go into effect until June 1st.
Happy new league year to everybody listening.
Absolutely.
I hope it is going to be a great league year.
This is the league year that the Texans win a Super Bowl. Thank you.
Hopefully, manifest it. Manifest it. So to start us off, I'm not going to lie to you, this is a bit weird doing it from our homes. I'm super used to doing this in the studio, but maybe it's something I could get used to.
Yeah, I'm very much used to like feeding off of your energy and seeing when you're ready to move on to something. I can really just pick up on it just based off your body energy. So it's going to be different, but this is, such a great day in news that I feel like it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, so with that being said, it is going to be a little bit of a shorter show just because there's not going to be any music breaks today, and we really just want to focus on some of these free agent pickups and trades. So we're going to go ahead and start off by one of the probably biggest acquisitions so far in free agency. It's going to be wide receiver DK Metcalf was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 2025 second and a late round pick swap. This was a guy that we were talking about last show, trying to speculate where he was going to go or if he was even going to move at all. And this trade became official today. I think this is a great pickup for Pittsburgh. It just depends on who their quarterback is going to be in next season.
Yeah, I actually really genuinely love the fit next to George Pickens. Like that's a really fun duo. Them two dudes are going to be crashing out on corners every other week. But yeah, I really just like if they get Aaron Rodgers, that's another 9-win season, 10-win season for the Steelers. They're happy with that.
I think they're going to be a sleeper AFC champion.
Oh my
contender.
Goodness.
I'm not even in the minority there. I think Aaron Rodgers still has decent football left. It's just the thing that we've been talking about Aaron Rodgers. The thing that I've been saying most is that he doesn't really have a fit anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nobody that's really looking for a older QB as their first season with that squad. Even though that could still be the case with the Steelers. The Steelers are always in like a win now situation. That's like the kind of the chip they have on their shoulder. Maybe you can agree with that. Maybe you don't.
No, I definitely
think they
do.
could still get to a 12 wins.
Yeah, the reason like Mike Tomlin is who he is because he always wants to win and he never wants to just settle for a mediocre season where they can get a good pick and then get a good quarterback. He wants to have a good quarterback who can win now because he knows that he can coach an average team to a playoff level or a playoff level to a Super Bowl level team.
This was not the trade that I kind of suspected was going to happen, if I'm being honest with you. This is not something I foresaw, even though because George Pickens is already sort of a number one in a lot of people's eyes. Like it only makes sense that he's kind of that guy right now. In some of the games he played, he did not show out. However, he showed many flashes over his first 2 years that he could be that go deep kind of guy.
And him and DK play similar roles. Like they're both the big-bodied, not phenomenal route runners, but really good deep ball kind of guys. The thing to me is that DK is a bit more of a demanding presence, like over the middle, whereas George Pickens is a little bit better going deep, you know?
This overall, it just comes down to who's going to be the quarterback. No Justin Fields. Unlikely that Russell Wilson returns. He just had a meeting with the Cleveland Browns today, which could be interesting if they draft a rookie quarterback. So,
yeah, I actually really don't even hate the idea of Russell Wilson returning again, like to the Steelers.
I do.
I mean, I hate it because I hate the idea of the Steelers getting any. Like, they should just draft a quarterback eventually. I don't know why they haven't yet, but if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, like if the Giants happen to get Aaron Rodgers, then I wouldn't hate it for Russ to go back to the Steelers.
Overall, DK ended up signing a 4-year, $132 million contract with the Steelers. So he's going to be there up until the 2029 season if there is no contract extension. So, I mean, overall, good move for the Steelers. Interesting what their future may hold, but DK is going to be a guy that's going to hold it down at that receiver position in the near future. So, other news out of Seattle. This was breaking news for me. I did not suspect this at all. I thought this was interesting. Geno Smith, he got sent off to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a third-round pick. Trade also just became official today. And this is interesting because I thought they were going to be in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes or Russell Wilson sweepstakes. I would have put $50 on it. I would have put a round of golf on it that they were going to get Russell Wilson. But Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. And to be able to acquire him for a third-round pick, a lot of people thought it was a steal to be able to get a quarterback of Geno Smith's caliber for, that value. I have to disagree. I'm going to be honest with you. Geno Smith, he is a good quarterback, but he is not like that franchise changer. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you have a different opinion than I do. I might have a hot take when it comes to this. I don't think they should have did this trade. Geno Smith is probably not on a insanely large contract. I don't know if he signed a new one yet. I don't like this. If they draft a guy like Shadur or Jackson Dart at that 7th role or at that 7th pick, maybe this makes sense, but I don't know if I like this pickup.
So I got a couple of things. All right, first off, Geno is, in my opinion, the best bridge quarterback in the league right now because he doesn't need to be a franchise guy because he can go out and win a bunch of games and be a solid quarterback. But you could also draft a guy behind him and that's not ridiculous to do that, and he would probably honestly understand it. So I feel like he's maybe the best bridge quarterback in the league. If not him, then it's Aaron Rodgers. Second point, I called this. You remember that?
I actually don't remember that at all.
So you don't remember when I was talking about how Pete Carroll and Mike McDonald met on that airplane and they were talking for literally the whole time, and I was like, hey, don't be surprised if Pete Carroll, maybe makes a move for Geno. Because I vividly remember that.
Well, yeah, now it's coming back to me now that you say that.
Yeah, there was a report. This dude was on a plane. He saw them two talking for literally an hour because Pete Carroll was in not first class. He saw Mike McDonald in first class, so he went up and talked to him. And obviously, Mike McDonald, head coach of the Seahawks, Pete Carroll, head coach of the Raiders. I was like, hey, don't be surprised if they make a deal. And what do you know? They made a deal. So, I feel very vindicated on that. That feels good to see happen. But no, I actually don't mind the deal because I feel like the Geno in that role is perfect, 10 out of 10. I don't know. I can't think of really anybody better. And especially it puts the Raiders in a much, much, much better position to win now.
But can they win now, though? That's the thing. I don't think they can win now.
No, they probably can't, but they can still be competitive while losing. And I feel like that's a culture builder in and of itself because you're showing your young guys, even if you're losing, how to be competitive in games. And then whenever you get those extra couple pieces or that quarterback that can really elevate you, now you're just taking that experience and building on it.
Okay. So you like this pickup?
Yeah, it's
your conclusion is?
Yeah, it's a 3rd-round pick, bro. I feel like after the 2nd, any pick you're trading for a quarterback who can go out and be competitive and be a builder of your franchise, not just for now but for the future, I'm fine with it. You can take a 3rd through a 7th. I don't care.
Okay. Once again, we're going to be staying in Seattle. Sam Darnold signed with the Seahawks. They were active, yeah.
Yeah, they were very active. And honestly, this Sam Darnold signing, 3 years, $100 million. It is.
Which is.
I don't hate it. I mean, like, honestly, there are worse signings. There are worse quarterbacks to sign in the NFL today. And I feel like with their. I was going to say with their receivers, but I mean, what receivers? Like, they have Jackson Smith and Jigba and then Jake Bobo. So, man, it's going to be interesting to watch them this year.
So this reminds me, I'm not going to lie to you, of the $72 million contract that the Texans sent to Brock Osweiler. I mean, due to inflation, this has to be similar numbers in the scale, right? So
yeah, actually, as soon as you said this reminds me of, I was like, he's going to say Brock Osweiler. Because, yeah, I can see similar shades. I just feel like this is a bit safer than Brock Osweiler.
I agree.
Sam Darnold was definitely better this year than Brock Osweiler was in his year that he popped off in Denver.
However, even saying that, comparing him to the one that shall not be named, 3 years, $100 million, averaging around $33 million a year. I'm not too sure on the guaranteed money here. This seems like a safe contract. Like, this is not necessarily a long-term or short-term contract. This is neither breaking the bank for a starting quarterback either. I would consider that like breaking the bank for a starting QB would be like, fringe 40, but $45 million is definitely breaking the bank for a starting quarterback in today's NFL. So this seems like an okay contract and okay signing for Seattle. I just, I'm similar to with the Raiders. I don't see the direction that they're trying to head here. They are not really a winning franchise currently unless they think they can beat the Rams. I told you last week in our hot take segment that, the NFC West is the Rams division to lose. I mean, like, come on, bro. It's similar to the Raiders, where I think the AFC West, like, the Raiders are not going to make it out of the AFC West, right? It's going to be the Broncos, Chargers, or Chiefs, at least. It's not going to be the Raiders. NFC West, there's a possibility they finish last next season.
Look, the thing is, I really feel like it was going to be a two-horse race until the Seahawks just completely blew it up. Like, they've gotten rid of Geno, they've gotten rid of DK, and then they signed Sam Darnold, and it doesn't seem like it's that much. In my opinion, Geno is better than Sam Darnold, and DK is a massive piece of that offense. And, like, on top of that, they released Tyler Lockett, which obviously that was going to happen because he was a big cap hit, but they are not building towards anything very impressive this year. Their offensive line already isn't that impressive. Kenneth Walker is a really good running back. So is Zach Charbonnet. But, their receivers are not great. They don't have a great tight end. Defense is okay. Like, it's just... It was going to be good, I feel like, between the Rams and the Seahawks. And then the Seahawks kind of blew it up. Now it's definitely the Rams to lose.
Yeah. So the Seahawks... I'm just going to talk about them real quick as a franchise. They hold the 18th pick in the upcoming draft. A lot of people have them drafting offensive line in the first round, which makes sense because their offensive line is terrible. That's like one of the reasons that Geno had a down year. And couldn't. For instance, I had Geno Smith on my fantasy league the past 2 seasons, right? And I also had JSN, and I usually, for some reason, I always have a Seahawks stack. I don't know why, but I had a Seahawks stack. But Geno Smith refused to throw over 2 touchdowns in a single game for a while, right? And it was when he did it, it was rare. But while it seemed like it was Geno Smith's problem and his fault, in reality, it was that offensive line. So a lot of people have them taking offensive line in the first round. However, I've seen mocked in numerous mocks where the second round, the Seattle Seahawks will draft Jalen Noel out of Iowa State, a guy that I know you really like, right?
Yep.
Maybe he's a replacement, or is he... would he be a good contrast to JSN, or would he be a good starter like opposite of him? I'm not too sure. It seems like they kind of have like similar characteristics about their games, like both explosive, both very quick. I don't know. What do you think?
To me, first off, if anybody watched any Seahawks game last year, that boy Geno was basically playing hero ball because of how bad that offensive line was. He made their offense look actually decent because of him being able to elude pressure and throw with guys in his face. He was actually so good last year. It just went underrated because he was on the Seahawks and it didn't win a lot of games. But besides that, Jalen Noel is honestly, in my opinion, a bit more explosive than JSN. But the thing that makes JSN is, one, his phenomenal route running. Like, that dude just knows. He's so, in my opinion, in tune with the quarterback. And when the quarterback is he just knows an offense and knows when a quarterback is going to be getting on that last step, getting ready to, throw, and he's getting ready to break at the same time because he's got that same pacing in his mind. Jalen Noel is much, not that guy. He's definitely more go and get it kind of deep explosive, which is honestly more where DK Metcalf fit into that offense. So I could see him sliding into that DK Metcalf role, but he's definitely not that same type of physical body that DK is. So same type of skill set, not the same type of physical persona or, personality, whatever, but I honestly wouldn't mind that fit. With Sam Darnold, I feel like they could get some juice going there for sure.
For sure. I like the Jalen Noel pickup. I think we'll really have to see. Maybe there's another wide receiver that's sitting in the second round, or maybe they go receiver in the first round. Who knows? Maybe they're the team that, sees Luther Burden sliding and maybe wants a Luther Burden pickup. I know you hate it. I don't really like it. But I will see. It's a question mark for the Seattle Seahawks for me right now. It's just it's a matter of time for real. It really is. Next is a team that made a lot of moves and a lot of great moves this free agency is going to be the Chicago Bears. So the Chicago Bears actually just signed Drew Dalman to a 3-year, $42 million contract. This comes immediately after a few days where they traded for Joe Thuney, and they also traded for, come on, remind me here.
Oh, my goodness. No, I got it pulled up. Hang on. I got it pulled up. Wow, I did have it pulled up. Jonah Jackson. There we go.
Jonah Jackson. So they're adding to an already, what was a bad offensive line.
So bad.
It was one of the worst offensive lines, if not the worst offensive line in the league. And now it seems like it might be the best, if not at minimum, top 5 offensive line. So their offensive line now looks like a young left tackle in Braxton Jones.
Yep.
Left guard veteran Joe Thuney, who has been to, I think, 5 straight Super Bowls.
He's been to 6 in total because he also went to one with the Patriots. There you go.
Yes. So he's a veteran, the definition of a veteran guard, a leader that you're going to need on the offensive line. Center Drew Dalman, right guard Jonah Jackson, who is also an established guard, and then very young right tackle and Darnell Wright. However, their tackles are very young. These are guys that can develop. They've shown a lot of promise, especially at such a young age. Darnell Wright specifically.
No, I was gonna say I really like Braxton Jones. So the fact that we're both pulling at different guys that we really like kind of shows that both of them are really good, and probably both for different reasons because we both happen to like different things in offensive linemen, So, yeah, this group as a whole, if they can get that chemistry that we've been talking about, since the Super Bowl, if they can get that offensive line chemistry going, this could easily be the best offensive line in the league. Easily, in my opinion. Easily.
I think there is no doubt, and
it honestly just depends if they can stay healthy, especially Joe Thuney as he gets a little bit older, Jonah Jackson as he's kind of been known to be injury prone. If those two guards can stay healthy, this team is going to be it's basically building off the offensive line very similar to how the Detroit Lions were doing because, Ben Johnson likes his offense built that way. So it makes sense why they're doing it.
Yeah, and you took the words right out of my mouth because I was going to reference Ben Johnson as well. These are Ben Johnson's pickups, if I've ever seen them, right? Go find some decorated dudes. Go find some guys that are really going to, move the line of scrimmage. Make it easier to get those short yardage gains because, there's nothing that's going to take the pressure off of a young quarterback like Caleb Williams, like a good run game. Like, if the Chicago Bears can set up a sufficient run game early in the season or just throughout the whole season, whether it's an interchangeable offensive line due to injuries like you just said, as long as the run game can keep up, then Caleb Williams will have a successful season. And this goes into my second theory. I don't even know if it's a theory, maybe a prediction for what the Chicago Bears are doing. And we mentioned this last week. Ashton Jeanty to the Chicago Bears is becoming ever more likely at the 10th pick.
Yeah, pretty easily. I would almost start betting money on that. And if it isn't going to be Ashton Jeanty in the first round, then almost guarantee slam money Omari and Hampton in the second round to the Bears.
If he even makes it to the second round, it's likely.
Big question. Yeah, big question if he does or not. But if I wouldn't even be surprised if the Bears trade up to get Omari and Hampton in the first round if they don't draft him or if they don't draft Jeanty with pick 10.
Yeah. So Chicago Bears are one of the teams that might be scary next season. They already have a good defense, right? A solid defense, maybe top 12, top 13 defense in the league, which is good enough. But now their offense was their weak link. It might be their strong suit now. It genuinely might. You still got Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. Rome Odunze might slide into the wide receiver 1, and DJ Moore might slide into his like natural alpha male wide receiver 2 kind of role, like a specific role towards him. Yep. Kind of playing like a Amon-Ra St. Brown type of vibe. Yep,
for sure. I feel like he's definitely talented enough to be a wide receiver 1, and that's what he's been his whole career. But the fact that he could be a wide receiver 2 next to Rome, man, I feel like it opens up more of his game because he doesn't have to go against the best corner, and he can kind of get more better, like more lineup opportunities because he's not forced to go be that wide receiver 1 on the outside.
Exactly. I couldn't talk more positively about the Bears here.
Yeah, I feel like they, I'm not even going to say it yet, but they have been killing it so far. Like it's, like genuinely no notes.
Yeah. Next is kind of a signing that I don't have much opinion over.
I have a lot of opinion about this. That's like, I actually moved it up in the notes pretty recently because it's going to be a short segment, but I feel like this says a lot about what the Patriots are going to do in the offseason. Okay,
so Carlton Davis III signed with the New England Patriots on a 3-year, $60 million contract.
This, to me, kind of emphasizes they already have Christian Gonzalez on the outside. They are bringing in now a very solid number 2 corner in Carlton Davis. This, to me, kind of eliminates Travis Hunter from the Patriots in the draft. Like, they're probably going to go a pass rusher or an offensive lineman. I feel like Travis Hunter is now like out of the window for the Patriots.
Interesting. What about Tedero and McMillan? Is that too early of a pick for them?
No, I feel like that's possible. He was actually, like, in my first 7 mock draft that we did, he was my dude that I had going to the Patriots. So I wouldn't even mind T-Mac up that early. But I just feel like it kind of eliminates Travis Hunter because we agree Travis Hunter is more of a DB in the NFL. And this kind of would make him an obsolete pick in their defense because they just paid Carlton Davis $60 million.
Okay, that kind of opens my eyes a little bit. In that top 7 mock draft that we did, I had Will Campbell, but maybe this leans a little bit more to that T-Mac or the Will Campbell. I mean, that kind of makes our picks make a little bit more sense here.
Yeah, I just feel like most of the time people put a lot of emphasis on what happens in the free agent period because it's a lot of big names, it's a lot of guys that we know, it's a lot of established guys, whatever. But what is being done is also a pretty big emphasis on what is going to happen in the future and what is not being done. Like the Texans obviously not really picking up many offensive linemen after getting into some stuff that we'll get into in a second. It kind of leans and shows to me that they'll be drafting offensive line in this draft.
Okay. Interesting. I like that a lot. That I didn't really think about that. Next, we have Josh Sweat, who was on the Super Bowl champions last season, had a great Super Bowl game. Actually, a lot of people thought that he might have or should have won Super Bowl MVP in a way. He signed with the Arizona Cardinals, 4 years, $76.4 million contract. This came in a bit of a shock. I would have thought that the Philadelphia Eagles would have re-signed him. he seemed like he was a great contributor to that defensive line. However, they have a lot of depth there already. But I kind of want to tag this into the next signing, which was Milton Williams, who was also on that Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, who signed with the New England Patriots for a 4-year, $104 million contract. Got paid even more than the Josh Sweat. So what does this say about the market right now? I think, if I'm being real honest with you, Josh Sweat is better than Milton Williams in my eyes. And I don't think I'm exaggerating that. I think I'm being legitimate in that claim. Milton Williams, I think we talked about it a couple times. I thought he was going to get overpaid this offseason. I believe he got overpaid this offseason. $25 million is a lot of money for a guy that was seemingly not mediocre. He's a good interior defensive lineman. But where's the production at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so look, Josh Sweat is, man, I can't believe we predicted this so well, man. Josh Sweat is worth about this. If I had to say they're overpaying by about $8 million, that's kind of what you just got to do in free agency. You got to overpay to get the guys. So that's a fine signing. Milton Williams, dog. He was the third best defensive tackle on that team. And Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are phenomenal. That's not a knock again. Like, that's just kind of a note to how great they are. But Milton Williams was not asked to do much. I would be surprised if his production is even worth like an $80 million overall a year player. Like $20 million a year player. It's just the production is not there. He's getting so extremely overpaid off of his Super Bowl production. But it was amazing Super Bowl production. That's what the Patriots are looking for. So can you hate it? I don't know. Shout out to Milton Williams for getting paid, though.
Shout out to Milton Williams for getting paid for sure. Yeah. It's just I agree with everything you said. There's nothing I can really say about this. I think Josh Sweat, you think he got overpaid? I agree with you maybe a little bit, but that seems like that's his worth. Milton Williams overpaid 100%. I would not have given him that contract. If the Texans would have signed him, even though unrealistic because we like to sign kind of cheaper veteran guys, if they would have signed him for 4 years, $104 million, I would have been upset, to say the least.
Yeah, that's definitely like a way overpay. Like it's not even close. Like I was saying, Josh Sweat is worth about that. I don't hate that signing at all, especially for the Cardinals. I feel like they're kind of building in the right places to, build a good team for the future, especially with a younger head coach. The Patriots with Milton Williams are just overpaying kind of because they had the money. They had $120 million, whatever, coming into this offseason. So it makes sense that they're going to splurge like this.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to the next one is a guy that got paid as well. A 3-year, $60 million contract for Charvarius Ward, signed to the Indianapolis Colts. This is obviously an AFC South rival for the Houston Texans, who we are clearly a fan of. Charvarius Ward is a very solid cornerback in the league. He is now going to line up alongside Jalen Jones on their defense, who is a good young cornerback. Not much production for him on a seemingly mid to good defense for the Indianapolis Colts. They were kind of held down from that mid offense last season. Actually, not even mid, bad offense last season.
Terrible offense.
So terrible offense. So good signing for the Colts here. They make that secondary a little bit more scary. Kenny Moore also, I believe, is still their safety in Indianapolis. Cameron Bynum, strong safety.
Yeah, Cam Bynum also just a free agency signing, 3 years, 60 mil or 66, something like that. The Colts are bolstering up their secondary, and it makes sense because you kind of have to whenever you got CJ back there. Whenever you got Trevor Lawrence, as much as I wouldn't like to knock on him, he's still a very serviceable quarterback. It makes sense to bolster up your secondary. And whatever the Titans are planning on doing, whether it's Cam Ward or whether it's Aaron Rodgers, they're going to get a quarterback who's going to be serviceable because, they have the first pick and they have a lot of money. So I honestly, I wish he wasn't a Colt because I really like Charvarius Ward. He's very physical as a cornerback, kind of like a sticky man cornerback to me. Also really good in zone. Very solid career in San Fran. It's not like he was great or anything, but I like Charvarius Ward a lot.
Yeah. The cornerback market right now is very expensive. If you want to get a good cornerback, is going to cost you some pennies, right? We're going to see that soon, probably with the Derek Stingley extension, maybe this offseason.
He's going to get paid so much money. So much money.
So Charvarius Ward got $20 million a year. Obviously, I'm not sure about the guaranteed contract or the guaranteed money here. $20 million a year for Charvarius Ward is a lot, in my opinion. You're going to see guys get overpaid in free agency. That's normal. This only makes me question, are we finna give Derek Stingley 30? Are we finna give him 27?
Well, look, all right. The next deal that was signed in the secondary market, J.C. Horn, Panthers cornerback, 4-year contract extension worth $100 million, $70 million guaranteed, and he's now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL with $100 million. We are gonna pay Stingley, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's $15 million more than J.C. Horn, because he's so much better than J.C. Horn.
Oh man, my pockets hurt hearing that. I'm not gonna lie.
And think about it.
I hope we don't.
The year after that, we're gonna have to pay Will and CJ.
Yeah. We might have to. So what I'm hoping is that we kind of have a unlikely, but maybe a 5-year contract. Maybe get Derek Stingley here because we drafted him when he was younger, I think.
Yep.
And so I think we drafted him when he was 20. I think he was 20.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we get him on a 5-year contract, maybe have him under contract until he's 30 years old. $125 million contract. Is that crazy?
Well, the thing is, that's still $25 million a year, and that's the same as J.C. Horn is getting paid, and he probably wouldn't want that. He would probably want more. He would probably want 30. That's why I was saying probably be 4-year, 115.
Yeah, and he has Mulligetta, right?
Yep, that dude is that he's gonna scam us. We already know.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm looking forward to covering that. I'm not looking forward to.
Man, and it sucks because Stingley is so good, man. He's actually worth every penny. So it's just like makes it so much more of a like, do I want to do it? Do I not? Because it's a lot of money, but he's worth every cent.
Yeah,
man.
Well, if you are a Houston Texans fan, it is now time to open your ears right now because we're going to do a deep dive into the Texans offseason so far. It's day 3 of the free agency. We did a lot of trades. We've made a lot of moves. I'm at this point, now that Nick Caserio has been our GM for a good little minute now, I'm used to these off seasons. It used to be real dry for us for a long time. I used to be like, oh, do the Texans ever make any trades? Do we ever sign free agents? Things of that nature. But the Texans.
Well, look, whenever it was the blanking. Dimple chin. Holy crap.
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I was going to say Bill O'Brien. Okay. Whenever it was the Bill O'Brien years, it was really dry until he decided to make a really dumb move in the offseason. Like, it would be really dry, and then he would sign Brock Osweiler. It would be really dry, and then he would trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson in a 3rd-round pick. Or just like, it would be really dry, and then some crazy stuff out of nowhere would happen that would just hurt the team because we didn't do anything in the offseason, and then he felt a need to like make a big change quickly to try and, quote, improve, unquote, the team. You know, that was like the biggest problem with his off seasons. And with Nick, I already know, I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, but he's just so much more like planned out with everything, right? I feel like he's going in with just a plan with everything. I feel like so much of that is Bill Belichick probably, but man, I'm just so confident in Nick Caserio.
Yeah. So the blockbuster, I don't even know if this is a blockbuster. We kind of had 2 big trades here. So we acquired safety CJ Gardner-Johnson from the Super Bowl champions Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are losing a lot of their core pieces on that defense this offseason. We acquired CJ Gardner-Johnson with a 2026 6th round pick and we acquired him using a 2026 6th-round pick and offensive guard Kenyon Green. Wait, am I reading this wrong?
We traded for CJ GJ in a 6th for
okay.
Kenyon in a 5th.
Okay, exactly. So all we gave up was Kenyon in a 5th next season.
Yep, for CJ GJ in a 6th next season.
Yeah, and this is a great trade because CJ GJ is more than a serviceable safety. He might be one of the best safeties in the league, top 10, in my opinion. He's a ball hawk. He can make plays deep in the secondary, which is something that we needed this past season, in my opinion. We had Kalen Bullock, but at that strong safety position, who did we have? Jimmy Ward, buns. Eric Murray, buns. MJ Stewart, buns. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there was no depth there, so if any of those guys went down, we're playing a corner at that position. Jalen Petrie is going to be back, but he plays nickel, which is a great position for him.
It's definitely his natural position.
It definitely is natural position for sure. And we also gave up a, may I say, parasite on our offensive line. Kenyon Green has been a absolute cancer to this team. Ever since we drafted him ahead of a guy like Kyle Hamilton in that draft. A guy that, we're getting CJ GJ now, but what if we would have got Kyle Hamilton back then? Futures would be a lot different. Obviously, I don't want to play hypotheticals, but in my opinion, this is a good trade because I feel like we were going to release Kenyon Green anyways. This guy was not going to be on the squad for the upcoming season. There's no shot.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Eagles were also about to release CJ Gardner-Johnson because they need to free up cap space to pay guys. So, this is just kind of a way for us to get around the waiver wire and all the free agency, just trading for CJ Gardner-Johnson. And, in my opinion, and I don't even want to think about it, but I can see it now. Jeff Stoutland in Philly is going to make Kenyon Green an all-pro. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to make him an all-pro because that's just what he does with the linemen in Philly. It's so annoying, but I actually really like the trade. Beyond the fact that CJ is just a really good safety, man, he fits the swarm mentality perfectly, dog. He's like exactly what we need in a strong safety.
He's kind of like what we thought we were going to get from Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward is far past his prime currently. That's obvious, though.
Yeah.
CJ GJ kind of brings the same temperature.
Yeah, he definitely reminds me of Jimmy Ward back whenever he was playing for San Fran. And the best part about it, he's only like $2.8 million a year. Really cheap contract. It's just the fact that the Eagles are so, they're paying a lot of guys right now, and that's why they were going to release him. So, I'm definitely, I love this trade for basically both teams because Kenyon gets another start. CJ gets to go play some winning ball somewhere, and he doesn't have to go through all the free agency. Eagles get more offensive line depth. Texans get more safety, secondary depth. All in all, it's a great trade.
Yeah, A+ trade, in my opinion. If I had to give it a grade, A+. It doesn't really matter who wins and who loses here. It's just we got a very valuable piece that is going to show up in game time next season.
Yeah, for sure.
Another trade that happened, we traded away offensive tackle. Some may say superstar left tackle, Laramie
Some may
Tunsil.
say Hall of Famer.
Interesting take there.
Nah, I'm not even kidding, bro. Something like that is I don't even think that's a crazy take, bro. He's been an arguably top 2 left tackle in the league since he was, back on the Dolphins. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, that could, okay, that's a different topic. I'm not
different
gonna
topic. Yeah, different topic. We'll get there later.
Different topic. So, we sent Laramie Tunsil and a 4th-round pick for the upcoming draft in exchange for a 3rd, 7th in 2025 and a 2nd and 4th in 2026. The trade has just became official today, and I have mixed opinions on this. I really like it on one hand. We got an overhaul of draft picks, which I trust Nick Caserio with. However, we seem to be cleaning house on our offensive line, and I'm scared that we're relying on the draft to fill some of these roles because we do not have a good history of drafting offensive linemen.
Okay, so I just there's like a couple of ways this is going to go. I'm not going to lie. All right, the Texans are, I think, going to end up trading for a veteran offensive lineman, whether it's a guy like Wyatt Teller from the Browns or just a guard who's like on the market. We're going to, I believe, trade for a veteran guard to be one of our starters. I also think Jarrett Patterson and Juice are going to end up playing this year. And then we got Titus and
Blake Fisher.
There we go. I was going to say Bryce Fisher. So we basically, that's our 5 right there at bare minimum. We need to get one of the guys in the draft to, end up replacing one of these guys because Jarrett and Juice, one of them got to go. And eventually Titus is going to get cut too because he's like way too expensive. But us trading...
Do you think they're shopping? My bad. Do you think they're shopping Titus right now and that's why he's still on the team?
No, I think they're finna cut him for sure. Like, if it's not...
I know, shopping him before they cut him.
I mean, maybe. I just don't like... I don't even know if there would be a market for a dude like Titus Howard. And I feel like, honestly, they might give him another year, especially at left tackle, before they let him go. And I wouldn't be surprised if we end up giving him a year at left tackle and end up drafting a left tackle. So if he ends up being buns, we can slide a rookie in and then let him go to the Wolves.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, Titus Howard has probably been one of our more durable guys on the offensive line. He's missed a few games. However, he's usually that guy that'll fill in the spot. He's not hurt as often, which I enjoy. And he's a serviceable. I mean, he's a good right tackle. It's hard to gauge tackles in the league compared to others because the gap between a good and a bad, and like a good and a regular tackle, the gap is very large. It's hard to find supreme tackles in the league right now. Yep. But I think Juice is right there towards the upper echelon of like medium tackles. You know what I'm saying? He definitely is a good tackle. And it's a plus that he has guard experience. He played right guard last season as well. He played left guard last season. We know he can play left tackle. That's probably his natural position is the left tackle. So I'm not mad about it. He is getting paid a lot. He is getting older. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually, the second part I was going to say is I was kind of mentioning it earlier. We have to pay all these guys very soon, whether it's Stingley or CJ or Will or whoever. All right. Part of paying those guys is, you have to be able to have a lot of rookies around them because you don't have a lot of cap space because you're paying so few guys so much money. So us trading Laramie for 4 picks in the next 2 drafts, which, is when we're going to have to be paying these guys, kind of shows to me that Nick is very confident in the core that we have and wants to keep them around and wants to be able to draft rookies to build around them. That's just what I was going to build on top of. Okay.
It's just, I'm not, as a viewer, I'm not confident that he can do that. And it's unfortunate because he's been drafting so well at other positions, super well.
Yeah, I just mean in general, we're going to be drafting other places. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up flanking on some bad alignment. It is what it is. But if we take a lot of swings and we get a lot of misses, we'll also get some hits. That's part of why if you trade for 4 picks for 1 offensive lineman, that's 4 opportunities for you to find 1 starter. Yeah. That's the kind of mindset that Nick is taking. He's just getting as many odds as he can at the draft because he knows how hard it is to draft offensive linemen. And we all know how hard it is too because we've struggled with it so much.
Exactly. So those were 2 of the blockbuster acquisitions for the Texans thus far. We might speed run the rest of these. So, there was breaking news as well. I believe it was 2 days ago that Alex Earl is now going to be a part of the Houston Texans fan base because we just signed wide receiver Braxton Berrios to a 1-year, $2 million deal. Quick little prediction for me. I don't think he's. I don't think he's on the team to start the year, but
Look, some of my students, they are now also Texans fans because of Braxton Berrios. So there you go.
okay, so shout out to Braxton Berrios selling tickets. I don't think Braxton Berrios makes the 53-man roster. It'd be cool if he does. I see it as unlikely, if I'm being realist about it.
If he does, he's never going to see the field on offense. It'll just be special teams. And the thing is, he's a really good kick returner and a really good punt returner, so I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. He could probably be a special teams guy, and that makes sense for that. The size of that contract, only a $2 million deal.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad about that. I would not be mad about that. We also signed another, may I say, white receiver, and Justin Watson, former Chief. This is kind of like one of those similar to Braxton Berrios trades, except I think Braxton Berrios might have more value, like you just brought up with the special teams. Justin Watson seems like he's an okay signing. He was mediocre with the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably won't make the 53-man, but there is a possibility he's going to be in there for competition.
Yeah, I feel like this is just more of a flyer, more of a competition guy, like you were just saying. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the practice squad, but I don't know if 100%. He's going to be on the 53.
Next is maybe somebody that you were hinting at earlier when you were talking about Laramie Tunsil and the in-depth look into that. We signed offensive guard Laken Tomlinson, former Jet, former Niner. Last year he's on the Jet, right? He was on the Jets last year?
I think he was on the 49ers last year.
49ers last year. We signed him to a 1 year, $4.25 million deal with a max value of $5 million, probably due to playing time, if I had to assume the incentives on that one. A lot of people claim that he is not that great, which is unfortunate. I think he gave up the 6th highest pressure rate in the league last year, if I had to remember off the top of my head, which is not something you want to hear about a guy that the Houston Texans just signed. But I truly believe this is just a depth piece. He has a lot of playing time under his belt, a lot of starts. He can be a dude that kind of, sits behind somebody. I wouldn't be upset if he had to start, a few games in a year due to injuries to the starting 5. So another depth piece is what I'm kind of presuming here.
Yeah, 100%. This is definitely a veteran depth piece because obviously the thing is, we, as Texans fans, kind of knew we had to retool our offensive line and our offensive line culture in particular. So that's why we're getting, rid of the main guys like Kenyon and Laramie and also Shaq Mason. And we're bringing in a guy like Laken Tomlinson, who, while he may not play and he may not start, he's going to be a really good veteran who can kind of set the culture because I almost guarantee D'Amico Ryans knows Laken Tomlinson and really likes what Laken Tomlinson brings to the culture of the locker room.
Exactly. I'll go ahead and let you present the next few if you want to.
Absolutely, bro. We got Derek Barnett, defensive lineman, coming back on a 1 year, $5 million deal. This is a dude who, especially at the end of the year, once he got healthy and really started to get some reps, was turning it on. Like I was really surprised that he still had so much left, and I'm very glad that he's coming back.
I'm surprised that we were able to get him for what seems like a cheap contract. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought he was going to be like a 7.25, 8, 9 guy.
Yeah,
not hitting the 10 threshold, but to get him on a 1 year 5 is value to me, 100%.
Absolutely. It feels like we took a look at the McDonald's value deals and we got Derek Barnett for $5 million. Darrell Taylor, another edge rusher, 1 year, $5.25 million. This is again another dude who has been a pretty much special teams guru his whole career. So Darrell Taylor is pretty much, he's going to be a Stephen Ross like a warhead out there. He's going to be a nuke, going to block punts and block kicks. And yeah, I actually really like it because Stephen Ross is just such a good special teams coordinator.
Yeah, I like it. Some of these signings that we're about to mention are definitely special teams guys, and I actually love watching the Houston Texans on special teams.
Two guys who are not special teams but are going to be really important to this coming year because the defensive line is so important. Mario Edwards getting re-signed 2 years, $9.5 million. Sheldon Rankins, 1 year, $7 million. Mario Edwards, again, is a re-signing. He was with us last year. Sheldon Rankins was with us 2 years ago, left, and now he's coming back. I actually really like Sheldon Rankins. Like, he's so solid to me. Whenever I think about consistency at defensive tackle, I think of Sheldon Rankins, and I think of DJ Reader. But Mario Edwards is so, like, that strip sack he had against, I think it was Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Just slammed him to the ground. That was beautiful. Like, yeah. I think about that all the time.
I think these are, even though, same position here, both D tackles, different archetypes. You know what I'm saying? Mario Edwards definitely has a very good pass rush to that interior defensive line. Sheldon Rankins, obviously a veteran presence, can do the dirty work. Love both of these signings. I'm not going to lie. They definitely, I think keeping it cheap at the interior D-line might be the move, especially, possibly re-signing Daniil Hunter to a longer contract, Will Anderson soon, things like that. So,
yeah, Daniil is like so much, like he's so expensive, but he's so worth it. Will Anderson is going to be so expensive, but he's so worth it. If we can keep bringing in veteran presences who are just consistent and like not going to be a hole on the defensive line and let the outside guys eat, I feel like that's a pretty solid setup for a phenomenal defensive front.
Yeah.
Past that, last couple of guys, we got Nick Niemann, linebacker, signing a 2-year, $6.5 million deal. This guy's, again, he's just a very solid depth piece to me. If he ever has to play linebacker, which hopefully he doesn't, because that would just mean all of our guys are injured or suspended. Hopefully, fingers crossed on Aziz. But if Nick Niemann is playing linebacker, something's going wrong. If he's playing special teams and he's, being a phenomenal punt guy and punt block guy, great. Like, that's what he's here for. Love that. Last one, Tremont Smith, 2-year, $7 million deal. He's a cornerback, kick returner. So he and old Braxton Berrios could have a nice little training camp battle for the kick return duty. I would love that.
I would love that as well. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I would probably rather Tremont Smith there, just because he can double as a cornerback, while I don't think Braxton Berrios would get playing time as a wide receiver on the team. He'd probably be like wide receiver 6.
Yeah. Those guys who can do multiple things are obviously so valuable, because that's just one extra roster spot that you can have for a lineman or running back or whatever.
Yeah. And this is just an even more positive move because we are moving away from Robert Woods as our primary punt returner and kick returner. So if we could get a round of applause for that, I'm so glad that he's not going to be returning these kicks anymore. Holy Christ.
Hopefully we keep Dameon Pierce back there for one more year, because I want to see one more 99-yard tutty for Dameon before he ends up being a free agent and going to be a Pro Bowler with like the Steelers or something.
Probably, yeah. So here's going to be our last segment of the night. I hope everybody's enjoying this. I hope everything is also sounding very smooth and clear, because once again, we are recording this from the comfort of our own homes on Battle Red Radio. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are enjoying what you are hearing. Here is the best of the rest signings in NFL free agency. So to start this off, and we might just speed run this one as well, even though there are some on this list that I would like to talk about.
I feel like the thing is, the big ones we can like really get more into like next week if we really need to, but most of these are pretty just good to go over and good for the people to know.
Exactly. So first one is one that we're obviously going to talk about. I have opinions. You have opinions. So Justin Fields signed with the New York Jets, 2 years, $40 million contract. Love this for Justin Fields, and I don't know if I love this for the New York Jets, but I saw a TikTok where it said this might be the perfect signing because Justin Fields doesn't know what he wants to do, and the New York Jets don't know what they want to do, and they believe that they're good for each other. So maybe this is a good combo here. 2 years, $40 million that's a good contract for Justin Fields. $20 million is not a terrible contract in today's NFL for a starting quarterback. I hope he has a good tenure there. I mean, he's definitely a bridge guy. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope that it goes well, but I feel like the potential for Justin Fields is just kind of not there anymore. I feel like it's maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if it was there, Mike Tomlin would have took it.
Yeah. Most importantly, he's reuniting with college wide receiver Garrett Wilson, which I think will be fun. TikTok addicts
more than
will
anything,
go crazy
that's
there.
Fun. Absolutely, They're gonna go stupid.
Yeah, they are. Next, Aaron Jones re-signing with Minnesota, 2 years, $20 million. This is kind of like bolstering maybe keeping the inflation of the running back market up. Aaron Jones is a little bit of an aging running back, however, still had good production with the Vikings. Getting a $10 million per year contract is good for running backs. So,
especially after that, with Najee Harris getting $9.25 million with the Chargers for 1 year, I feel like we could start to see that number, especially with so many good young running backs coming in now. We're gonna see that number jump up pretty soon because all these guys are gonna want bigger contracts.
Yeah, maybe $15 million for a running back becomes a normal thing. We'll see. Next, we have Chris Godwin re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe last show we were talking about how Chris Godwin didn't get franchise tagged and where he was going to go. I always assumed he was going to stay with the Bucs. It seems like that's his home. I'd be shocked if not shocked if any other team offered him, but truly expected for him to consider them over the Buccaneers. I will always probably see him as a good Buck. Great season last year. Good re-signing. 3 years, 66 is not a bad contract for him in that production.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy and he can come back from this injury, it's a great signing. It's just that injury is I just hope. I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. Chris Godwin's a phenomenal player. He's been phenomenal his whole career. But that's just something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah. If you listened to the last show and you heard my hot take segment, I said that the NFC West is the Rams division to lose. And Coby, to my surprise, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. You surprised me. You disagreed with me wholeheartedly. And then a few days later, Davante Adams signs with the Los Angeles Rams. And it kind of only proved my point that the Rams are by far the favorites for this division. And the 49ers have only gotten weaker in this free agency by losing a lot. I think it was 11 guys so far, and still having to pay Brock Purdy an insane contract. Come on, bro. Davante Adams, 2 years, $46 million. This is a no-brainer. Alongside Puka, just come on.
They can be the favorites and still not be their division to lose.
Come on. What do you think? You still think I'm hot taking? This is.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
this
a hot
is
take,
obvious. Bro. All right, bro. I think I'm spitting hard facts, but we're gonna disagree, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like the 49ers are just good enough with the guys that they have. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like with the guys that they have, they're good enough to keep it competitive. And honestly, don't be surprised if the Cardinals do too.
Jonathan Gannon is a good coach. I think they'll. Was it year 2 under Gannon? Year 3?
2.
I think it's year 2. Yeah, I think it's year 2 under Gannon. He's gonna. He's a great. He was a great defensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's gonna. And he got I think he got an A or A+ on that NFLPA progress report. He's gonna turn that defense around, which is what the Cardinals need. We'll see.
Josh Sweat signing.
True.
True. Hey, the NFC West is going to be more competitive than I think you're giving it credit for, but also maybe I'm underviewing how good the Rams are going to be next year. So it could just be two ways of looking at it, and one of us is going to be right.
Exactly. DeAndre Hopkins also signed a contract with a new team after losing in the Super Bowl with the KC Chiefs. Signed a 1 year, $5 million contract with the Ravens. I'm gonna get your opinion.
Everybody put your
after
F's in the chat because this is where receivers go to die, buddy.
It's here in the Tennessee Titans, but I've seen people, close friends at work say that, I've heard this guy didn't even think he was hot taking. He thought he was just, giving a legitimate ball opinion. I was like, you do not know ball after saying this. He said the Baltimore Ravens now have a bona fide number 1 receiver after doing this signing. And I had to straight up just say, DeAndre Hopkins is washed. And it's plain and simple. It's cut and dry. This guy can still play ball. He's not a number one anymore. It's sad to say. Love D-Hop. Would love to see him, have a reunion, retire a Texan even. He's not that guy anymore. And it's unfortunate. He's just not him.
Nah, I gotta, like, that's a hilarious statement that your coworker would say that, because he is, we are like 4 years removed from that being a real option. That is crazy.
I mean, put us in a TikTok edit if we are wrong, right? If he goes on to have an OPOY year, if he goes on to have 12, 13, 1,400 yards next season.
No, if he goes on to have 1,000 yards, put us in the TikTok edit.
Put us in a TikTok edit. Genuinely. Because I do not think it's happening. I want to hear my voice tweaking over him like mossing somebody next year. But, 1 year 5 for a guy that's going to be a solid wide receiver 2, 3 on this team is not bad. Decent. That's all I could really say. Darius Slayton re-signed with New York Giants, 3 years, 36. I actually like this. I don't think this is bad value for Darius Slayton, especially because Malik Neighbors is easily the number 1 on this team, and paying 12 to a guy who's going to be a solid number 2 isn't terrible for me. I like Darius Slayton. I feel like he had production last season, so I don't think this is bad.
I almost have no opinions, because like Darius Slayton is just a good receiver, but like it's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Giants.
Yeah. Jawan Johnson re-signed with the Saints, 3 years, 30. Solid. I mean, Jawan Johnson has been a consistent good tackle in the league. Mike Gesicki, this one was surprised me. I remember when this notey hit my timeline. Mike Gesicki re-signed with the Bengals, 3 years, 25. I think this is 8 a year. This kind of surprised me. Mike Gesicki had a decent season last year, but almost no production. He's a receiving tight end that really didn't have that many yards. Was mostly like a red zone threat. It's just, it's confusing to me, but I could be tripping here. I mean, it fits their scheme. It fits their style. He's a terrible blocker, like almost a non-existent blocker, but it's not a bad signing. It's not that expensive, all things considered. Yeah. Khalil Mack re-signed with the Chargers, 1 year, 18, which is going to be interesting because I don't think we actually put it on here. Because Joey Bosa just signed with the Buffalo Bills for 1 year, 12. So do you think Khalil Mack is really $6 million more expensive than Khalil Mack?
No, this is a complete overpay. I don't know what they're thinking.
A complete overpay. Yeah, I agree with you.
As soon as I saw that number, I was like, 1 year, 18? Yo, give me his agent, buddy. Like, he's got to come negotiate my contract, because he can give me like 70 as a teacher.
Yeah. 70 M's?
Oh, my goodness. That would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. Hassan Reddick signed with the Buccaneers, 1 year, 14. This is all right. I mean, Hassan Reddick is going to do his thing.
Hassan Reddick, kind of like him not playing was such a detriment to his career, because he could have made so much more money than what he did. Yeah. Like, he is such an idiot trying to get get a bigger contract and then not play and then not perform and then get less money. Like, goodness gracious, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the story of Hassan Reddick's career so far. Javon Hargrave to the Minnesota Vikings. Jonathan Allen also to the Minnesota Vikings, 3 years, 60, which I kind of like that pickup. Could you imagine? I mean, Jonathan Allen is still a super solid interior D lineman. I was surprised that the Commanders wanted to let him go, if I'm being honest.
He's very there's a lot of money, especially because they're building so many pieces, and they have good they had like 3 good defensive tackles. Now they only have 2 because Jonathan Allen's gone. But the Vikings in their own right are kind of building another version of the Purple People Eaters with Jonathan Grenard and now Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen and Harrison Phillips, and like their defensive line is starting to look pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Grady Jarrett to the Chicago Bears, 3 years, $43.5 million. This kind of goes with what we were saying about the Chicago Bears earlier. Great signings. This is a good signing. Grady Jarrett has been anything but like a pure professional over in Atlanta before this. A lot of production since he came out of college. What do you think?
This is kind of like the perfect signing to me because one of the only weaknesses in their defensive line was the, in my opinion, lacking of a veteran presence. Like they have Montez Sweat, but Montez is not a veteran still to me. Like he's just a dude in his prime, but he doesn't really have that kind of experience that a dude like Grady Jarrett has. Grady Jarrett has been in Super Bowls. He was there whenever they lost 28-3 or 28-3 comeback against Tom Brady. Like he's been around the block and he's seen it all. And he's just a very good, consistent presence.
Yeah. Javon Kinlaw signed with the Washington Commanders, 3 years, $43. Dre Greenlaw signed with the Broncos, 3 years, $35, which I thought was interesting. I feel like they got value out of that. Broncos defense was already one of the best in the league. Now they got a very solid linebacker there. You seemed to disagree when I brought this up to you the other day.
Dude, they're that's a phenomenal pickup, and they got a lot of value there. I was just saying that Bob Spillane is also a big pickup, and you were kind of slacking on it.
Yeah, I was. Ernest Jones re-signed with the Seahawks, 3 years, $33. Jamian Sherwood re-signed with the Jets, 3 years, $45. Robert Spillane signed with the Patriots, 3 years, $37. So very similar contract to Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, a lot of these linebackers that got signed were in a similar range of like value. And now that they've all been signed, there's basically no linebackers left. So any linebacker needy teams are going to be looking to the draft or going to be looking to trade.
Even though the draft, there are a lot of solid linebackers. I'm going to skip around on this list a little bit. So Cam Bynum signed with the Colts, 4 years, $60, which we brought up earlier. So that kind of bolsters the this kind of bolsters that the Colts secondary, like I was mentioning earlier. Justin Reed signed with the Saints, 3 years, $31.5 million, leaving the Kansas City Chiefs from his previous season. Paulson Adebo signing a 3-year, $54. With where did Paulson Adebo go? I don't know why it's not in the notes. Paulson Adebo now with the Saints, so he re-signed with the Saints.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he re-signed. I didn't know he went somewhere else.
Yeah. And then Mac Hollins agreed to a 2-year, $8.5 million contract with a max of 10.4.
With the Patriots, dude.
With the
I'm
Patriots.
so surprised that the Bills did not re-sign Mac Hollins. It makes sense, kind of, because they traded for Josh Palmer, and like now that's their number 2 with Kolosik, or I guess number 1. Like I don't know, their receivers are weird, but they like Mac Hollins was so good for them this year, and now he's just going to a division rival.
Yeah, we were talking about it in in I think one of the first shows that we were looking at the Bills, because I think I said the Bills may return to the AFC Championship and are low-key my favorites in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl this next season. And we looked at their free agents, and Mac Hollins was on there. And I said, I almost dismissed him being on the list because I was thinking there's no shot they don't re-sign him, and there's value there. Like, it seemed like the max value of this Mac Hollins contract is a 2-year, 10.5, which is what, a 5.25 a year. That's easy money for the Buffalo Bills to do. I was a bit confused by this as well. However, to each their own, they do have Josh Palmer now.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of Josh Palmer too. I feel like there was some untapped potential there because he was always kind of asked to play third fiddle. And then even this year, he was kind of hurt. So he didn't really get to pop off as he could have. And again, even this year, he was kind of asked to play third behind QJ and Ladarius McConkey out there.
Yeah. To end it all off, quarterback Daniel Jones also headed to the Colts to possibly fight for the starting job with Anthony Richardson. I think he signed a 1-year, $14 million contract. And then Dan Moore Jr. went to the Tennessee Titans and got completely overpaid. Hold on, let me bring up the contract right here. So he got a 4-year, $82 million contract, $20 million a year. And I was looking on Twitter, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans said that Dan Moore Jr. could not block a parked car. Like, they said this guy is absolutely buns. And when I read this, I thought it was insane. I thought it was crazy. I sent it to you. You thought it was crazy. I don't have much to say about this except to say this is a Tennessee Titans deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of money for not a great tight end or not a great tackle. Like, he's like, just the nicest way to put it is he's not great. And they're paying him great money. That's like $20.5 million a year on average. That's a pretty expensive contract. But that's kind of the glory that you can have whenever you're going to draft a young quarterback and you don't have to pay him that much money. So whenever you do have a rookie quarterback, it makes sense to kind of splurge like this, even if it's for a player who's not that great.
Exactly. So that kind of rounds it up for our summary of free agency so far. Some of the best remaining free agents on the list. We got wide receiver Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, and Keenan Allen. And then we have Rasul Douglas, Kendon Fuller, Asante Samuel, Mike Hilton for DBs. And then offensive lineman Cam Robinson, Tevin Jenkins, Tyron Smith, and Mekhi Becton, who is a guy I think I want to see the Texans attempt to target if the value is there. I do not want to pay him anything insane. And then quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I would love... I love the idea of Mekhi Becton coming in, but I don't know if I love the value because I feel like he's probably, in a similar way to Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, earned himself a pretty big paycheck because of his performance this past season in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's going to ask for like 23 a year is kind of, we do not have that money at all. So a question I want to ask to end the show today, and I hope everybody enjoyed listening to Battle Red Radio, even though it might sound a bit different, is which team won free agency so far for you? For me personally, like I've mentioned all show, Chicago Bears kind of seem like they ran away with the free agency so far.
No, that's like the easy runaway option because the Bears, like we've said, they've been making all the right moves. They've signed the correct offensive lineman. They've traded for the correct offensive lineman, and they haven't traded away too much. They're building the correct way on the defensive line. There's again, like, no real notes about what they're doing in the offseason.
Yeah. And then, are there any losers? You didn't put a losers on this list, but a team that seemed to be vacant, absent, not even present or mentioned in this whole episode were the Dallas Cowboys, right? They have made signings, they have made acquisitions, but they have all been mediocre. Very mediocre, if anything, bad or not even worth mentioning on the show so far, and we are an hour and 15 minutes in. You know what I'm saying? So Cowboys fans are the ultimate losers of the 2025 NFL free agency so far.
Yep,
that's all you got to say?
Yep. I mean, like, look, Jerry, to me, seems like right now an unserious person because he has the most money out of all these owners. He has the most influence. He has the brand. He has all the allure of Dallas and Jerry's world, and he consistently doesn't use it and doesn't pay the players that he should. And when he does decide to pay players, he honestly, most of the time, overpays them or just pays for veteran players who are past their prime, a la like Dalvin Cook or Zeke last year or whatever.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Dallas fans. I know a lot of them. It's a sad day. It might even be a sad upcoming season for all of you. But to conclude, if you enjoyed Battle Red Radio this week, because I don't think we're going to have a second show coming out due to it being spring break, we just kind of wanted to recap a little bit of what free agency has happened so far. We will be live on UHDI Radio on Tuesday next week. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody that subscribed so far. I think we're up to 185 subscribers so far. So if we can get to 200 subscribers, that'd be really, really cool. Shout out to all of Coby's people.
Shout out. I appreciate all of y'all. Absolutely.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody that's came from Coby's side. Overall, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe, like I said, and we will be back next week on Battle Red Radio. I've been your host, Kaden Jones, here with Coby Riendeau.